All right, welcome to Sky Yoga. We'll be doing a very gentle, low-key routine tonight. So we'll start as always with some pranayama, intentional breathing, getting in touch with your breath. So find a comfortable seated position. And if you always sit the same way, try sitting the weird way that you don't usually sit. Let your lower body relax down into the floor. Since I'm sitting the weird way, I'm going to put a prop under the higher knee. There we go. So I can really just let it go and relax it without worrying about it being too heavy for my hip. And then we'll straighten up the back, lifting up the torso so that your shoulders are stacked right above your hips, not leaning or hunching forward, but sitting straight up. And pull your shoulders up, back, and down, just like half of a shoulder roll, just to get them nice and relaxed. And then make sure your elbows are kind of loose and dangly underneath your shoulders. And then the final step to getting set up for a seated, any kind of seated work, is to gently tuck in your chin so that you feel the back of your neck in line with the rest of your spine. So the neck is part of your spine. And just settle into your pose. Easy sit, it's sometimes translated. And observe your breath. And anything that you feel kind of tensing up, let it go. Let it relax back down. And next we'll do any kind of pranayama that you enjoy. Basically the goal of pranayama is to deepen and lengthen the breath. So you can just choose to do that. You can choose to just breathe longer and deeper. But of course, there are lots of visualizations to help you with that. So the one that I like a lot lately is the slide visualization, maybe just because it's playful. So you imagine your inhale as climbing up the ladder to the top of the slide. It's a little bit of work. And then the exhale is just whoosh, letting it go and sliding all the way down. And if you really follow that visualization, you'll see that the climb up is shorter and the exhale down is longer, right? That's just one of the rules of geometry. So whatever pranayama you enjoy, let's do it for several breaths. And let your breath evolve through this exercise. Maybe it gets longer and deeper with every breath. Don't feel that you have to make each breath identical. Let each breath be unique. And now we'll wrap up with some cleansing breaths. So these are the ones where we really fill up your entire rib cage, expanding outward, front and back, and then expelling the air with a little bit of help from your core muscles. So really squeeze, feel your core tighten up as you exhale. And on your next exhale, consider joining me in lion's breath with your tongue out. That always makes me laugh. So that's a good start to any yoga session, is a little laughter. All right, we've warmed up our breath, gotten in touch with our breath. Let's start stretching from the neck down. So drop your chin down to your chest, slowly letting the weight of your head pull your neck downward, and feel the stretch spread down through your upper back. And then you can start with some gentle wags side to side. And then you can widen that movement until you're really rolling your chin from shoulder to shoulder in a big old half circle. And if this is feeling good for you, you can always try the full circle. And if you try it and it doesn't feel so great going one way, try the other way. And if that doesn't feel great either, well, then just go back to the half circle. Certainly do not mess with your neck. Maybe one way feels better than the other. Excuse me. All right, now we're going to sit back up again. Always feeling free to change the cross of your legs as needed. And we'll do just a very gentle across the top of the shoulder stretch. So bring your left wrist behind you and grab it with your right hand and let both shoulders sink down. So check that you're still sitting upright, just like you were for seated breathing. And feel this stretch across the top of both shoulders. And now we'll slowly drop the ear down toward the right. And we're going to feel this even more now in the left shoulder. The left arm making a big curve that starts with your neck and ends with your wrist. Inhale and come back up and switch hands. Now the left hand grabs the right wrist, and we'll pause here, straightening up your torso, let your shoulders relax down. And now drop your left ear toward your left shoulder and feel the stretch across the right side. Making a crescent shape from the right side of your neck down to your right wrist. Stretching across your right shoulder. And on your next inhale, come up. And we'll bring your hands to your legs and gently roll the shoulders, inhaling up, exhaling down. And now let's change direction, roll the other way, still inhaling up, exhaling down. Nice. And now I'm going to invite you to do a little bit of my physical therapy with me. This is really interesting to me. So often when we want to pull our shoulders back, we start up here, right? And we pull the shoulders back and squeeze them back, and you feel the scapula coming together. So let's do that a couple times. Just gently squeezing your shoulder blades together. It's a little bit of that, and then relax and squeeze. So it's like that cow pose that we do from all fours, and relax and squeeze one more time like that. and relax. But the muscles that pull your shoulder blades are quite big. The trapezius goes from the up here all the way down to the bottom of your rib cage. So see if you can find your trapezius muscles in the bottom half of your rib cage and use those to pull your shoulder blades back. It's going to be a much more subtle movement, but you'll be squeezing as if, ladies, you'll know what I mean, as if you were tightening a corset, right? You're just going to squeeze those muscles back, pulling the back of your rib cage together, and it pulls your shoulder blades slightly down. So we're just kind of contracting the trapezius in the bottom half instead of up high. So just try a few of those, squeeze and relax. And you're going to feel it right around here in the bottom half of the rib cage. All right, thank you for indulging me. Those are great for your posture, by the way. So if you catch yourself at the keyboard all slumped over, sit up and work your traps, your trapezius muscles. All right, let's open the arms out wide and pause here with arms level, stretching through the fingers. Feel the length from middle fingertip to middle fingertip, stretching out through your arms. And then inhale, rise up. And exhale, release down. If that bothers your shoulder in any way, you can always come up through the center. And exhale back down through the center. So try both ways and see which one you prefer. And we'll do one more, inhaling up. And exhale and release. And now let's inhale up one more time and rotate to one side. Just looking under your armpit, feeling the twist throughout your back. Especially, I feel it in the mid back. And then inhale to center and exhale the other way. And inhale back to center. We're going to bring the arms down level again and bring one across your body and use the other to pull it in. So stretching the upper arm, the biceps, the deltoids. I think it's the deltoids. They must have a triangular shape to have that name. So the long arm is just relaxed. And your torso is still upright and forward. So don't pull yourself over. Sit up straight and just pull the arm close. And then on your next inhale, open wide, fill your lungs, and exhale the other arm across. Pulling it in, feel the stretch in your upper arm. And release down. Maybe wiggle your shoulders a bit. And we'll see if I can do a tricep stretch. Inhale up, reaching high. We're going to exhale one hand down between your shoulder blades. Grab that elbow and pull it back. Feeling the stretch here underneath your upper arm and the triceps. And on your next inhale, reach up high, fill your lungs, and then exhale the other hand down, pulling that elbow back. And release slowly down. Nice. All right, we will transition to hands and knees and do our cats and cows for the spine. So from a tabletop position, we're going to lengthen up through the arms. Press your palms down into the mat. Feel your arms lengthening as your shoulder blades rise up, forming that arch in the upper back. Press your belly button up toward your spine as well. And when your back is as much of an arch as it can be, push back, exhaling. And when I do that, I really feel a stretch in my lower back. And then we'll bend the elbows, keep the forearms pointing forward, and draw through, pulling your head forward. Lift your head, lift your hips. And now your back is doing the opposite thing. Belly is hanging down. And we're in cow. And the shoulder blades are touching. They're so close behind you. And then we'll reverse it. Flip your back up into the arch. Exhale back. Flip your back into the scoop. And inhale forward. And just keep flowing through your cats and cows. And when you complete your next circle, come back up to tabletop and we'll do horse pose. So horse pose from tabletop, we just look over one shoulder towards your hip, curving your spine. Arms and thighs stay straight up and down. It's really all about one shoulder trying to touch the hip on that side. Breathe. Feel one side compressing and the other stretching. And then on your next inhale, come to center. And exhale the other way. And then inhale back to center and give your tail a wag. Good. We'll do thread the needle next for the shoulders. So inhale the right arm high. Mine doesn't go very high right now. So take it as high as you're able. And then exhale, bringing your arm and shoulder to the floor. I'm going to rest my head on a block to protect my shoulder a bit. So feel free to do the same. Your palms come together. Your left arm slides out until you've almost got your elbow over your palm. And then exhale, wrap your left arm around behind you. Your right forearm can roll on the ground. And then we're going to unwind that left arm. Bring your hand towards your face. Press up and inhale the right arm as high as it goes. Exhale it down. All right, next we'll do the left side. Inhale your left arm as high as it goes. Exhale it to the floor, resting on your shoulder. Head rests on the floor. Hands are palm to palm, and then your right arm slides out. And mine's going to stay right there. But if you're able, you can wrap your right arm around behind you for a bind and roll your left forearm on the floor. And then bring that right hand back close to your face, press up, and inhale the left arm high again, and exhale it down. Good. Okay. Now we'll move on to kickstand for the legs. So kick back your left leg, and just pause here, press through the heel, rotate your ankle, stretch that leg, and then we'll swing it out to your left side. and ease down to sit on your right heel. And this might be time to take the socks off. Right. So you're resting, sitting on your back heel, the right heel, and resting on your forearms. And this long left leg is stretching out next to you. So reach towards your ankle and feel that stretch in your hamstring and inner thigh. Your head can hang, you can support it. Let your left leg really relax. Sometimes I find my quad is pulling my kneecap up. Let it go. And then we'll bring the hand back, lift up, bring the knee back, and switch sides. All right, so we'll push back our right leg, pause and press through the heel, give it a good stretch, rotate your ankle both directions, and then swing that right leg out to your side. Ease back to sit on your left heel and rest on your forearms. Relax the right leg and reach for your ankle. And now we'll bring the hand back, rise up, bring the knee back, and give your tail a wag. All right, let's move on to drunken cow now, Sufi rolls. So just swirling your upper body around in a circle. I usually feel this most in the hips. I'm being pretty gentle with the shoulders, but you can move more forward than I am and get more for your shoulders. And now let's change direction and notice any differences there. Maybe one side is enjoying this more than the other. Good. And the next time that you're in the back, open your knees up wide, big toes touch. Sit your butt down on your heels or push it down toward your heels. Reach your arms out, rest your head on the floor for child's pose. And if this is rough on your arms to be extended like this, there's a variation on child's pose where you bring your arms to your sides. So maybe try that one. Definitely feel very childish here. Pretty much everything touching the floor right now. And then we'll bring the hands back up and walk them forward and swing the hips forward into up dog. And if this is hard on anything, your low back, for example, or your shoulders, then just come down to your elbows instead. And we'll look over the shoulders and get a nice twist throughout the spine. And let your belly be soft and get a stretch. Very nice. Okay, let's sit up and do just a little bit of core work, a little core conditioning. So if you're new to core work, we're going to start low. So just lifting your feet about a brick's width above the floor and just hold it right here. Hold the pose, not your breath, right? The stronger you get, the higher your feet can come. So if you're intermediate, you can get your shins up parallel to the ground and stop here. Again, hold the pose, not your breath. And then once you've been doing this successfully, You can do yoga sit-ups with me. So you extend and contract. Extend, 2, out. 3, reach. 4, extend. 5, halfway there, out. 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Brilliant. All right, bring your feet down to the floor, hug your knees, do a little twist, look over your shoulders. That works the quads as well as the core. Nice. Let's come down on the back and do the back stretches. So lying on the back, hug your knees. Try to keep your feet side by side in pursuit of symmetry. You can rock gently here, or just focus on relaxing your low back into the floor. Maybe you wag your tail instead of rocking. Just getting that low back nice and comfy, flat on the floor. And then we're going to take it off the floor by rotating the knees around. So with your hands on your kneecaps, the knees come in, the knees go out. And when they go out, what I feel is my low back flexing off the floor, arching up just a little bit as the pelvis rolls against the floor. And then it flattens again when the knees come into the belly. So let's take a few turns in this direction. And then change direction. Nice. All right. And now I'm going to do a little bit more therapy for my shoulders. So feel free to join me or do another pose that you like. I'm going to come into dead bug. So that's when your limbs are just straight up in the air, nice and relaxed. If this is too much for your lower body or your lower back, then just rest your feet on the floor and keep your arms in the air. Either way works fine. And what we're going to do is lengthen the arms up, very similar to what we did when we were moving into angry cat pose, right? Lengthen through the arms, arch the upper back against the floor. Feel your shoulder blades pulling apart and then relax down. Reach and relax. We'll do 5. That was 2. Reach and relax for 3. Reach, relax for 4. And one more. Reach up and relax all the way down. Very nice. All right, we'll go into happy baby now, which is kind of a variation on dead bug, but more pleasant. So bending your knees, grab your shins, ankles, feet, whatever you can reach. Pull them wide apart and rock side to side. And we are rolling the whole back, all those little muscles in the back, across the floor. Some of them not so little, right? The trapezius is pretty big. But there's so many muscles working in concert with your ribs and your spine. And then in the center, bring the soles of the feet together. Pull the feet in, push the knees away. Supta Baddha Konasana. There's actually 2 variations here, so we can do it with our feet in the air. You might have to move your grip up to your ankles. Here you should be able to relax your low back and tailbone down. Let your low back kind of puddle in the mat. Maybe you would like to rock side to side here. And then we're going to release the feet, but keep them together. So let your feet come down to the mat and your knees sink down, and you can rock even bigger here. Or you can flap your knees up and down like butterfly wings, whichever one feels good. And then bring your knees back up to parallel and your feet to the ground. If you have a cushion or a block, you might want to grab it. We're going to do bridge pose, and supported bridge is awfully nice. So your feet are close to your body and close to each other, almost touching. And we're going to press the hips up into the air until you feel like there's a big straight line going from your shoulders through your hips to your knees. Try to keep your knees pointed forward with your thighs parallel. And then we're going to roll slowly down. So take your back down one segment at a time. So let's bring the upper back down and the mid back. So most of the rib cage is down, and then the low back, and then your tailbone hits the floor, and we hug in the knees. Little rock and roll. And now we'll do it again, and this is your opportunity to stick the block underneath you if you like that. So we're going to lift the hips up. Maybe you put a block under there at the height that works best for you. And now you can let those knees splay out and just relax onto your brick. Maybe you can even bring the soles of your feet together. Or maybe that's too intense for you. So just play around with this pose. But the benefit of this pose is that your pelvis is supported beneath by the brick and yet in the air. So you've got this kind of weightless feeling going on with your hip and pelvis area. It's a nice way to take the pressure off your low back at the end of a day of sitting or standing. And then bring your knees back together if they're splayed apart, and lift up your hips enough to bring your block out and come back down to the floor. Nice and gentle and slow. And we'll roll to one side and sit up. Not for long. We've got about 5 minutes before Shavasana. So let's sit in Baddha Konasana, the pose we were just in, but seated. Cobbler's pose, feet together, knees down. So pulling your feet in and lift your torso, shoulders down, neck up. So you don't have to lift your chin. You can tuck your chin in. But the goal here is to have your chest open and not caved in like this. So let your chest open to the front. Maybe you even feel a little bit of that cow pose where most of your back is curving toward the front. Your hips are out and your head is lifted. Pressing the knees gently down. And if you have yoga weights, this is a great pose where you would put even weights, unless you have an injury, on your knees and encourage them, let's say, to go down a little further. All right, and we'll finish off with diamond pose. So push your heels forward until your legs form a diamond. Your hands come under your calves and rest on top of your feet. And you can kind of wiggle around until you're comfy. Your head is hanging down toward your feet. Relax your legs outward. And we're going to focus first on relaxing the spine. So take your attention to the nape of your neck. And then just imagine giving yourself a little spinal massage, rolling your fingertips down your spine, softening as you go. Soften, soften, soften. Relax your back. Let your upper body hang heavy.
And when your imaginary massage therapist reaches your tailbone, let your whole pelvic area relax as well. We hold a lot of tension there unconsciously. So just relax your gluteal muscles, anything else you're clenching in that area. And feel your upper body hanging heavy toward the floor. I'm really feeling a nice stretch in my outer hips. And you can enhance that by either pressing your elbows closer to the mat if they're not touching, or gently pulling your face a little closer to your feet. Be very gentle. You're kind of folded up, putting a lot of pressure on your hips and hamstrings and low back. So very gently pull your face closer to your feet, or press your elbows a little closer to the floor, and feel that stretch throughout your hips and hamstrings, maybe your low back. And keep everything soft and relaxed. Breathe. And now we'll gently release the hands, unwinding and coming up. That's a pretty intense forward fold. So we're going to extend the legs out in front and the hands behind, and do a little back bend to counter that forward fold. So we're going to lift up on the arms. It doesn't matter which way your fingertips face. We're resting on the heels. So press your hips up high. You have the option to drop your head if that feels good. Your arms are holding all your weight. Breathe. And slowly lower down. And let's sit up nice and straight in stem pose. The back is straight, the legs are straight. And pull your toes towards you. Maybe you can reach them. Maybe you put a strap around the balls of your feet. And just stretch the backs of your legs. Especially the calves. And we're going to make our way down to our back for Shavasana. So come into whatever position is relaxing for you. Traditionally, you would be on your back with your palms up, arms at your sides. If you need some support for the low back, consider bringing your feet up, but wider than they were for bridge. So they're wider than your hips, and your knees collapse inwards. This is the semi-supine position. It's good. It allows your low back to be better supported. So wherever you are, just relax into your end of session pose and feel the whole back of your body in contact with and supported by the mat. Feel the back of your head sink into the mat. Feel your shoulders sink into the mat. Let your rib cage sink into the mat. Let your navel sink toward your spine so your abs are relaxed. You may feel a little bit of arch there in your low back, depending on how you're lying down. Let your pelvis and hips sink into the mat. And let the weight of your legs sink into the mat. And let your heels rest on the mat. So the whole back of your body is supporting the rest of you so that the rest of you can also relax. Relax your face, your eyes, and mouth, and jaw. Relax your neck and throat. Let your breath move freely in and out of your chest. Let your arms be soft. Let your legs be soft. All the way down to the tips of your toes.
by here like a sponge, soaking up the benefit of your practice. And let's take a deep breath, pulling air through the lungs, through the veins, through the entire body. Wiggling your fingers and toes back to life. And then slowly moving into whatever pose helps you transition back to your day. Maybe a long full body stretch, maybe knees to chest. And then roll to one side, resting your head on your arm. And think about something that for which you're grateful. And when you're ready, push up to seated. I'm grateful to everyone for practicing with me tonight. Namaste.
Thank you so